Welcome back to All Real Estate, All the Time with Whitney Nicely, where we teach you the ins and outs of buying real estate in Knoxville. Now, here's Whitney.
So I have had a very exciting start to August.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And you got a few more weeks coming up. They're going to be busy.
Oh, yeah. Like my real estate, my coaching, speaking, all of that has completely taken off. But I mean in my personal life and in like Whitney Buys Houses life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, let me just tell you, last week I almost sold the house that I live in.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's good.
I was
Although, where are we going to live otherwise?
Well, the thing is, okay, so I helped my mom and dad flip this house in '09, and I've lived in there since '09. I love it. Okay, this is the house that they lived in when I was born. I mean, I came from the hospital, and we were living in this house. Then we moved and all this other stuff, but because my mom is a real estate investor, she always kept the house and rented it out to lots of different people, and she was just a landlord, and I thought everybody just had a couple houses, and people sent them money every month. Like, that's just how I grew up. It's just money came in the mailbox for houses that you own. So, of course, when I got to be 20, 25, I wanted my mailbox money.
Yeah, and mailbox money would be nice.
Well, now I get inbox money, which is even easier because I don't have to walk to the mailbox and then go to the bank.
Nice.
I get an email and then check my bank account and it's there. I don't even have to get out of bed and make money now.
Oh, technology.
Inbox money is better than mailbox money.
Better than paycheck money, too.
Holy smokes. You're not even kidding. Okay, but I was at home. I work from home quite a few days a week. I go to the office, I go look at houses, but I stay at my house a lot. And I've transformed my dining room into part of an office. And around my dining room table, I pace. Like when I'm in the studio here, I stand up because I have a lot of energy. And if I sit down, I'm going to sleep. So I stand up, I pace, I talk, I walk, I use my hands, all that jazz. So I am pacing around my dining room table. I'm on the phone with somebody, doing my normal little thing, talking to them about real estate, blah, blah, blah. And as I turn the corner, I've got this great big, huge stone fireplace in my dining room. And I noticed a rock down on the corner that I hadn't really noticed before, but I just thought, oh, weird rock. And then I walked around, I made my last loop, and as I got close to the rock this time, I kind of bent down, put my hands on my knees, bent down, looked at it real close, and it looked back at me. It did.
Not a pet rock, I assume?
It was the worst kind of pet rock. It didn't have shoulders. Oh, it didn't have shoulders. So I squealed like a little girl and climbed up on the dining room chair, and I was on the phone with somebody, so I don't even know how I hung up with them. I'm sure
I'm sure they hung up on you when you started screaming.
I'm sure I didn't get that sale, but it went something like, oh my God, I gotta let you go. There's a snake in my house.
Oh no.
And I don't remember who it was. I should probably call them back. But anyway, I blacked out for a second, called my cousin, and he usually doesn't answer. So he answered on the second ring, and he was like, hello. I said, there's a snake in my house. He said, I'll be right there. I mean, there was like no conversation, didn't care. He was really close, so he really was there in just a second. But as he came in, I'm standing up on the dining room chair because I'm a little girl, and I took a picture of it coming out of my floor. Like my fireplace and the hardwoods, there was a hole, like a gap between the stone fireplace and the hardwood floors. And his little head was coming out of my floor in between the fireplace and the floor. Like he'd come up through the floor trusses. I don't really know how he'd gotten there, but it was awful.
How big was this snake?
Oh, he was like the size of my arm, for sure. Like
what? Really, that long?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely after a week of me telling the story, he was totally the size of my arm. I mean, I even told somebody last weekend after it happened, that he had Abby, my dog, down on all fours or down on her back by the time I found him. But that's not true either. So anyway, he was huge in my mind. I took a picture of him, and you saw this on Facebook. Like, I put a lot of pictures on Facebook, and my caption on this one was that my house is for sale because we have an intruder, and I don't need to live in it while it's so inhabitable. So my cousin came, and when he walked in, Abby started barking, so it scared the snake, and he went down on his hole. But I'd taken a picture of him, and so I could prove that I wasn't making up the snake.
Yeah.
So we sat there and waited on him to come back. He wouldn't come back. So my cousin left, and I called Dad to catch him up. Well, I was going to leave. Like, this house is not fit to be lived in today. Just evacuate. The house is for sale. Take my stuff. I don't want it. So I even told Dad at lunch that this was not a negotiation with the snake. This was just a hostage situation. We're going to give him whatever he wants. Yes. Just give him whatever he wants. We're leaving. So I called Dad, and as I'm talking to him, filling him in on what's going on, I walked back in the dining room to get my purse. And as I did, that sucker was like 4 inches out of the floor. And so I started squealing again with Dad on the phone. And instead, my cousin was calm, cool, and collected. I'll be right there. My dad's like, "What color is it? How big is his head?" And I was like, "Dad, it doesn't matter. He's coming in. We've got an intruder."
Have a rattler.
Exactly. I was like, "I can't see any of that." So Dad comes over and he's trying to find him and all this stuff. I've got Dad and my cousin back over. And in the middle of all of this, a salesman from ADT calls, like the security people.
Nice.
So this is my conversation with ADT. He calls and he's like, "Yes, ma'am, I want to talk to you about the crime in your area. And we're putting a lot of security systems in and blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Does it include snakes?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, ma'am." I said, does your coverage include intrusions by snakes?" And he said, "No, ma'am, I don't think anything covers snakes." And I said, "Well, I have an intruder today. He's been here for 2 hours and my husband is at work and I don't know what to do about it." So if you don't include snakes, then I'm not interested in your product. Like, I'm not worried. I'll leave the door unlocked half the time anyway. So I'm not worried about somebody coming in. There's nothing here to steal. What I'm worried about is the snake. And at this point, he couldn't decide if I was crazy or giving him a line, or he couldn't decide. So he tried the intrusion because I'd said something about an intruder. He said, "Well, it's not just intruders, ma'am, that could."
He's still selling at this point.
He's still selling.
He is a good man.
He said, "It's not just people that would intrude and steal your stuff. It's that they could come in and hurt you." I said, "Sir, I'm going to heaven when I die. Bring them on. The only thing I'm worried about is the snake. And if you don't cover snakes, I'm not buying."
Oh boy!
And he said, "Okay, yes, ma'am."
Where's the next line in the book for that one? I don't know.
He said, one of the things he said is, "Nobody's ever asked me about a snake before." And I was like, "Well, that's not what I'm worried about." I don't care if anybody else is worried about it. I am. There's one in the dining room. Could you send the cops? So anyway, Dad and I went to lunch. The snake came out. He was in the dining room when we got back from lunch, and he was curled around my wine bottles. So I don't know if he was an alcoholic or if I just have too many wine bottles, but they were empty. They're Pinterest projects that are waiting on a person to project them. So I just threw them away after that. They're housing snakes. They're bad luck. So anyway, we almost sold my house, which was the first house that I flipped, but Dad and my cousin ended up catching the snake, catch and release program, so no snakes were harmed. I just got a gray hair, but that's okay. But we are not selling my house. I did have a fun weekend, though. I went to the lake. I am a lake. I'm not a beach bunny. I don't really care. I don't like the salt. I don't like the sand. I don't like the water and the sun. Okay, I just don't like the beach. But the lake, I love the lake.
Get down on the pontoon?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a tri-tune, and I love floating around. We've got some of those lily pads, too, that you can just float on at the dock.
Oh, yeah.
It's my mom bought a dock that's almost as big as our house. Like, it's the biggest dock that's not a marina on Norris Lake.
Okay, on Norris.
There's a difference between Norris and Norris.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know that?
I didn't.
My dad taught me the other day that Norris is down next to the dam. That's where the pretty water is.
Okay, Norris is near the dam.
And Norris is up where we are, up close to the river. But Norris is where all the Yankees go when they get a house on the lake.
Okay.
So, and they can't pronounce it. That's why it's Norris down there. That side of Loyston Sea is Norris, and our side is Norris.
Okay.
Didn't you go?
Yeah, so I went up to the dam on Friday. They had they opened up the dam for the TVA tour of Norris Dam, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, my husband Jason wanted to go do that, but I didn't tell him about it until it was over because I didn't want to go.
Oh, it was fun. You should have gone. To see the inner workings of the dam and the generator and all that.
The whole damn thing just doesn't interest me.
I'd
rather talk about houses.
There you go.
So I'm going back to the lake today. Like, can't wait to leave you so that I can go back to the lake today. Sorry. I hate that. You can come with me.
Okay.
Bring the wife and kids and everybody. Come
Throw me in the tri-tune?
Yes, for sure. So I'm flipping my mom's lake house. And when I say flipping it, I mean that I cleaned it out. Because we've had it since 1997, and it looks like 1997 when you walk in. She's got brass doorknobs and brass light fixtures, and so I'm changing all those this weekend. I went to the big box home improvement store on Monday so that it's in the car, it's ready to go. I'm flipping the knobs and the accessories as soon as we get there.
So just knobs and accessories, nothing else?
I've already changed all the kitchen knobs.
Okay.
So I've updated it, and I took out 5 trash bags of stuff out of the kitchen because apparently since 1997 we haven't cleaned out the cabinets.
Old tequila bottles and everything?
No kidding, yes. Corroded batteries and just stuff that you accumulate you need at the lake and you forget you have it, so you go to Sam's and buy 20 more and then it just gets pushed on farther back. So that's the plan this weekend.
All right.
We're hitting the lake. We're going to Norris. And I know that we were up at the lake last weekend, and one of the things that we kept talking to each other about is because we've got a gravel driveway up there and a gravel road into the lake house, and our road needs new gravel. So we were joking because my mom owns a dump truck company. It's Walker's Truck Contractors. And we were joking that she needed to bring us some new gravel up there. But then we remembered that she brought new gravel for the driveway. And that's why I spun out trying to leave the other day, because we got that new fresh gravel. But if you need gravel, we can spread it and compact it. We can leave it in a big pile for you, whatever. Call Walker's Truck Contractors, 865-933-0225. If you have a house for sale, call Whitney Buys Houses, 865-309-4500. This is Whitney Nicely with All Real Estate All the Time.